The King television newsroom was going through one of its legendary periods when a new guy came in. A total on-air novice, college dropout, son of a lawyer, former ad man, radio host, actor, writer, and Northwest native who didn't exactly, even then, fit the picture of what a TV guy was supposed to be. King was the Bullets family business, and the family was well known to take chances.
Here were some thoughts on the issue. Here's Greg Palmer.
But no one was prepared for this.
Faced with this problem, running writer-director Steven Stern has attempted to solve it by using every possible way of photographing a man running. But there are only 9 ways. 1, the running toward the camera shot. The running with the camera shot. 3, the running by the camera shot. If these pits could talk, they'd probably tell you about here, where this was said for the very first time. He's got a great start. They're going to have trouble catching Muncie now. Gives you a lump in the throat, doesn't it? The pounding feet shot. The intense expression shot.
Say, these trees are pretty good. Quoth the seagull, myrtle wood.
And 9th, the falling to the ground in slow motion agony practically on top of the camera shot.
The Palmer method was to bring the audience along on these adventures, with the viewers and sometimes Greg not quite knowing where they were going to land. One evening, you'd find him relaxing at the beach.
Children especially enjoy the beach, though they are not especially enjoyed on the beach.
The next, talking with his neighbor about a special method of keeping the dogs from dropping by the front yard to say hello.
Have you considered trying something else that might even further confuse and bewilder dogs so they'd stay out of your yard?
We'll go out on the course in our boat, and you'll show us all the subtle nuances. Oh, yeah.
Or he would be out there at Stan Sayers Pits, going through the nuances of hydro racing with his fellow Mercer Islander Steve Reynolds.
Greg, that's a rowboat. No, that's top story Marine Unit number 3. You want to not drag your hand in the water? Oh, sorry. Well, what are you thinking about here when you come into the first turn?
Oh, the usual thing, you know, the position of the other boats, engine temperature, oil pressure, Immanuel Kant's theory of human perception, erotic symbolism in Shakespeare's Troilus and Cressida, and then the wave action coming off the exit pin, you know, the usual thing.
The hallmarks of Greg's pieces were that they could be witty and wise, literate and light, insightful, insulting, inspiring. He loved physical comedy and proved he was a master at it. Timing, Greg would explain. It's about the pacing, the comedy of words, and silence.
Of course, the most common beach activity is staring at the water. Yes, that's all it does.
When you worked with Greg, you could find yourself working with Greg, which meant being part of the bit. He'd grab someone in the newsroom or off the street, and they'd discover that Greg was as much fun in person as he was on TV.
What we're talking about here is bread, a staple of life.
As brilliant as he was on camera, Greg liked to get out of the way. A natural director, he often said his favorite pieces were those that brought attention to the talents of others, especially great performances.
His Richard here is good, and in 10 years will be great. And here's part of it.
A scum of Britons and base lackey peasants whom their o'er-cloyed country vomits forth to desperate adventures and assured destruction.
King has one of the deepest archives of regional theater in the country. He was still trying to get permission to save it while he was dying.
The crowd started gathering out in front of the Mutual Life building early.
He understood death and accidentally became part of it one gorgeous Seattle afternoon when a member of a Japanese dance group, Sankai Juku, fell during a promotional performance. An artistic event turned tragic, and the moment is still with many of us.
The company has performed a dance of life and death 100 times all over the world, without any safety devices, without any problems. But this day, a rope broke, a rope symbolizing the thread of life. And a few hours later, at Harborview Hospital, Yoshiyuki Takada, dancer, artist, was pronounced dead.
These were years when King would give 2 minutes plus during its news hour to a newly opened exhibit at the Seattle Art Museum. Greg fought fiercely for that time and that focus on the arts. During and after King, Greg worked locally, nationally, and internationally on a body of work that is breathtaking.
Kiss her.
What?
Kiss her, the girl.
He loved children and did a series of deconstructed fairy tales for the Seattle Children's Theater.
Maybe he's not handsome enough.
Then he conceived and created the first American-Georgian movie co-production, The Falcon, based on a Russian folktale. That man took us to the top of the world and to the beginning of recorded time. One of his proudest moments was the PBS American Masters series, Vaudeville. Greg often found material that today's audience had never seen before. We learned Greg had cancer months before he died. Even though for all of us his death came too soon, among his best work was a documentary that looked at the end of life, in Greg's classic style, right in the face.
Death, not space, is the final frontier, and unlike every other frontier, death is the one we all have to go to one day. So what follows is a journey of reconnaissance. By looking at the way people all over the world prepare for life's last great adventure, we hope to get some sense of the adventure itself. It's a journey of grief and joy, fear and hope. It's the trip of a lifetime.
Surmange Hari Chandra